According to statistics from Accenture and Forbes, 58% of customers will sever a relationship due to poor service. Over more than that, 84% will actually say that personalized service is very important to win their business. And consumers are 5 times as likely to purchase again after a positive service experience. So this is just kind of the theme throughout everything that we're talking about. Customer service is one of the pieces at the forefront of the customer experience. That is often what people think about when they consider the company and after they've bought the product and working with the customer or with the company. So.
All right. The most recognized and familiar way to build a positive customer experience is to provide fast, accurate, helpful, and proactive customer support. We've all interacted with customer service teams before and can remember both good and bad experiences, but those bad experiences tend to spread the negative sentiment towards a company quicker than the good ones, and it can be really hard for companies to overcome that reputation. But on the other hand, when you experience a positive customer support interaction, you feel supported by that company, you build trust in that company, and you're more likely to do business with that company again, right? We want to keep doing business with the companies we enjoy doing business with. So let's talk about some key concepts to building a positive experience. First on this list, we have help customers help themselves. Today's customers are used to finding help documents or videos on the internet to troubleshoot their own issues, right? YouTube, we all go out there, we all try to be DIYers in our own right. Many even prefer to find help themselves instead of waiting for a customer service rep to assist them. This is mutually beneficial for you and your customer because they can get answers to their questions on their own time, and you don't have to provide staff to be available for support whenever those customers want or need it. You can provide customer service via multiple channels. When customers need help today, they expect to get it using the channel that's most convenient at the moment. Whether it's sending an email or a text, chatting with an agent online, posting a support ticket so someone can get back to them later, or using a good old-fashioned phone call, customers have different preferences in how they interact with companies, and it makes for a positive customer experience for businesses to allow their customers to interact with them on the channel of their choosing. If you're anything like me, I try to avoid talking to people on the phone as much as possible and would much prefer a chat or a text channel, but I know not everybody has that same preference.
Raise your hand if you're a millennial, Allie.
So true. All right, next, solve problems fast and communicate solutions. Because the internet has made information so easily accessible, people tend to expect answers to their questions to be instant and can get frustrated with waiting on hold to find an answer, or waiting for someone to get back to them to resolve their problem. It's important for customer service teams to have tools that allow them to find information quickly to enable them to work with customers efficiently. In this context, your business may also use self-service portals to allow customers to solve their own problems quickly instead of needing to get answers from a customer service team. Last, know your customers. This is really important. When I hear know your customers, I think of Chewy. I don't know if any of you have ever worked with them before, but I love Chewy. And every time I do business with them, at some point during the conversation, they always ask how my 2 dogs are doing, and they ask by name. And I love it, and it always puts a smile on my face. And they even send them birthday cards every year. It's super cute. But anyway, I think that's great, and they really do a good job of tracking their customer information. And in order to track that type of information, you need a customer service tool like Dynamics Customer Service to allow your customer service reps to have easy access to that information. So while they're interacting with their customers, they can relay those personal touches and really show how positive the customer experience is when they work with your company. All right, so now we'll take a look at some of the capabilities that Dynamics 365 for Customer Service has. So we have customer service portals, as I mentioned, Power Virtual Agents or chatbots, omni-channel, case management routing and queues, computer telephony integration or CTI. There's lots of agent productivity tools, entitlements and SLAs or service level agreements, and of course, surveys and insights to check on how satisfied your customers are and to keep an eye on the trends. And Chad and I are going to dive into each of these items in just a little while as we work through this presentation.
All right, thanks, Allie. So we're going to dive into the first section on helping customers help themselves. So how do we enable the customers to not need us as much? So the first, I have an example of a self-service portal, and this is for a fictional Contoso coffee company. And you can see it's just a nice website. It's got a bunch of different ways to access information. And so the first is forums at the top. You'll see that actually allows them to go and have a community-like aspect to sourcing their needs and talking with other consumers, other customers about their experiences, things like that. They can crowdsource. You've got the FAQ section, and with this, you can post what you think people will often need a reference and have that easily accessible. And then if they don't find their answer through the FAQs, they can search the greater knowledge base. And so this is documentation articles that you've built up internally that are customer facing and can be referenced by customers, user manuals or how-to guides, things like that. And they can search based on keywords and based on text that's in the articles themselves. They can find what they need. You can also have them create cases on their own or look up their existing cases and find the status of them and that kind of thing. You can also enable them to update their own contact information. So if they updated their email address or they moved recently and they want you to know that rather than having to go through a customer service agent, just let them do that on their own. You can also have any other kinds of content you have, how-to videos, things like that. You can host all of that on your portal and just make it easily accessible there. So here I've got an example of searching the knowledge base. And well, they searched the knowledge base, sorry, and now they're opening up the Power Virtual Agent because they didn't find what they were looking for in the knowledge base. And they're gonna open it up. It's a virtual chatbot talking, right? So it's a virtual agent named Phil, and he's communicating with the customer. He's seeing, hey, I actually see your IoT, your sensors on your device actually told me that you probably have this issue, and here's an article to tell you how to fix that issue that we've already detected through internet connected sensors. And so that predictive way of helping the customer just logs in and already they're being automatically directed to the solution for their problem. And that will, things like that, being able to anticipate what the customer needs is incredible. And the chatbots can solve much simpler needs as well.
All right, now let's talk about providing service through multiple channels. And when we're talking about those channels, we're referring to all the different ways that customers can reach out to you. That can be through portals, as Chad just showed, through the chat bots, through email, voice, social media, right? People love getting in touch with us via social media these days, and SMS or text messages. By having a software that allows you to efficiently interact with customers in their chosen communication channel, you'll be reaching a broader group of potential customers. On the screen here, we're showing an example of the omni-channel for customer support, which is a Dynamics 365 solution. On your screen here, you can see that there's a chatbot. This is how the other side of the chatbot looks from what Chad just showed. So this is actually what your customer service rep would be seeing. The chat shows right up on the screen. They can see a history of what went down with the chatbot before they took over the chat, so they don't have to re-ask all the same questions that the chatbot already went through. And they can view all the conversation history that took place with this person as well in the past. So if there's other issues, and this omni-channel screen will also pull in voice conversations that are being had. So you can see a full transcript with translations right on the screen, and just makes it really easy for your customer service reps to interact with your customers. This next slide is showing an example of routing rules and queues. So the next important thing to make sure that your customers are getting quick and reliable customer service is to make sure that when they contact you, they're going to the right people. You know, we've all been through phone trees where you have to press 8 buttons and then you're still not to the person that you want to talk to. So by using these routing rules, you can actually set them up to make sure that what your customers are calling about are based on the tier of service that they have. Like if they're a premier customer, you can route them over to your best agents. If they're calling about a particular issue, you can route them to a team of agents who will be best equipped to handle those issues to avoid sending them back and forth between all these different teams. And that's where the queue comes in as well. So you can set up your routing rules to send your customers into these queues that can consist of individuals or teams to make sure that they're the right people to solve that problem. And this next slide is showing an example of the computer telephony integration. So this is an example using Teams phone calls in conjunction with Dynamics 365. And you can see here that an incoming call is coming in to my customer service rep. It's showing that the phone number that's calling in has matching records in the system, some contacts and accounts. It allows your customer service rep to quickly pull up that matching record, or if there's only one record in the system matching that phone number, it can automatically come up on your screen too. As a customer service rep, I've actually used some functionality like this in the past, and it was like my favorite thing. I didn't have to ask people how to spell their names. I didn't have to ask for phone numbers, you know, none of that, like, wait, what did you say your address was? So it really streamlines that first interaction and wows your customers right from the onset of that phone call. All right, so next we'll talk about how to solve problems fast and communicate solutions. Very important piece of the customer service process. So here I'm just showing an example of the phone call to case process and how it looks within the Dynamics customer service module. You can see in that red box at the top of the screen is what we refer to as a business process flow, which essentially helps you keep track of what status your case is in. So when it first enters your queue, it may come in as a phone call. And if that phone call needs escalation, you can easily convert it over into a case. And then you can start keeping track of what status that case is in. Are you collecting information? Do you need to do further research? And ultimately end up with a resolution, right? That's the ultimate goal, is I want to resolve my customer's issue. And so you work from left to right across that business process flow, and it really guides your customer service team to know what they're supposed to be doing in each step too, right? You have to consider new employees in addition to old employees or tenured employees. And you have to keep in mind that the new employees may need more instruction on what they're supposed to do in each step. And using that business process flow is a really great way to give them a checklist of what they're supposed to do in order to help troubleshoot that case.
On the same note, we've got Smart Assist. It's this pane over on the far right, and there's some other things to help the agents work efficiently. So they're based on some crazy AI, that artificial intelligence that I don't understand. Microsoft technology is going to pick up knowledge articles and cases that it thinks are relevant. So you can go and easily open these knowledge articles as an agent and find the answers you're looking for. And you don't have to go and manually search for it. Same for cases. You can look at similar cases that might have been resolved and see what fixed it. Along with that, agent scripts and quick replies. So when you're chatting with an agent, or an agent is chatting with a customer, you can leverage quick replies that are just snippets of text. You can just say, hey, send this. It's a generic greeting customized for this customer, or different blocks of text that you can quickly respond. So it saves time when you're communicating with the customer. And then agent scripts can be developed and constructed from an admin for the system is going to construct these, and then the agents will use these, and it kind of guides new agents or existing agents through the different steps to handle the case. And so it's got a text instruction to greet the customer, and then it's got a series of macros that when you click a button, it's going to go out and take a series of actions on its own and bring some information back. So it's going to verify the customer and make sure this customer has the proper entitlements, SLAs, they're set up to have this conversation with you, that kind of thing. You could also have a macro that will automatically generate a case for you or generate an email using a template. There's different things that we can do just to automate these steps that agents typically have to take. The next piece is Teams chat integration. So there's just increasing integration with Teams. So for internal purposes, we want to help agents get the help from others fast. And so with this, there are already suggested contacts that show up on the right. And these suggested contacts have some more crazy AI going into it to indicate, hey, this contact or this other agent has dealt with this customer before, or they have solved a similar case. This might be a good person to reach out to. And you could just initiate a Teams chat, even if that person is not in Dynamics and they're just in Teams, browsing Outlook, whatever, they'll be able to see the full context of the Dynamics record from wherever they are in Teams. So again, this is just helping you connect with the people you want to talk to the fastest. Service level agreements and entitlements. This is just to help ensure customers are getting the level of service that you've promised to them. And so entitlements tell the customer what kind of support that they are eligible for, and SLAs help make sure that actually happens by defining these different time gates between different activities. You can see the time to assignment has to be under the 30 minutes. The time from assignment to resolution has to be under 60 minutes. And the whole case resolution process under 90 minutes. And then agents can see this with a timer on the cases and then prioritize their cases appropriately. So gonna jump into the last section, knowing your customer. The first thing that we want to talk about is customer voice surveys. So there's a basic building experience to make these. You don't have to be anything crazy. It's very simple. And to make it even easier, Microsoft has a set of pre-built templates. Some of these, they're all based off of some industry standards. And with this, we can automatically send the surveys based on some triggering event after they have a chat with an agent, after a case is resolved, or just periodically as we want to gather feedback. And so with this, we can personalize the surveys directly to them. You can see the survey has Claudia's name in it. These can be info about specific agents they talk to. There's all sorts of information we can grab from that. And one of the most important things with this are the satisfaction metrics, and those will show up in a report in just a minute here.
Next, we are showing you an example of customer history, because having that customer history is going to be very important to help your agents continue servicing that customer as completely as possible, right? So if they call in again or contact you, you want to be able to see the previous cases that they've submitted, the resolutions to those cases, identify if there's repeat issues, see maybe how their sentiment has been in previous experiences with your company, so you can cater your customer service accordingly to handle their new problem that they're calling in about. It also helps you look really slick when they call in, and you can say, hey, are you calling about that smartwatch issue that you called about last week? And you can just jump right into whatever their issue is instead of having them rehash all the information again on their second or third or whatever phone call attempt. Next, we have an example of customer service insights. And this is a really cool way for both your agents and managers and supervisors to keep track of what is going on with all of your customer interactions. You can see that there's some examples on here of how quickly you're resolving cases, how many cases are coming in different categories, where your cases are coming from. And over on the right, you can also see where it says average CSAT, that's for customer satisfaction. And that comes from those surveys that Chad was showing with the customer voice before. So by sending those surveys, the customer service insights can aggregate those results and show you on a scale of 1 to 5 how satisfied your customer is from those surveys. So just an example of how all these tools come together to give you an overall picture of your customer's service experience with your company. So just to recap, what we ran you through is how you can use Dynamics 365 for customer service to help your customers help themselves. You can provide service through multiple channels, and you can use this tool to solve your problems fast and communicate solutions with your customers. And lastly, the tools that are available for you to help your team know your customers.